Now we get to the final question. The Boston College basketball point shaving scheme. Henry tells me that when he first disclosed his involvement to you, you practically lunged at him. How far of an exaggeration is Henry's statement?
It's a bit of an exaggeration. I wasn't going to physically grab him. Frankly, I thought that it was a joke. The agents, I worked with the agents for, at that point, probably almost maybe 2 years, and I was friendly with them, and they knew that I was a big basketball fan, big Boston College basketball fan, and when the allegations first came out, I mean, what happened was Henry had a girlfriend he wanted to put into the witness protection program, a woman by the name of Judy Wicks. She was from Pittsburgh, and she'd been involved in doing some of the narcotics stuff with him and moving narcotics back and forth between Pittsburgh and New York. And when we were interviewing her to see whether she would cooperate and go into the witness protection program, she was very reluctant to say anything that would be harmful to Henry. And so I asked her, I said, well, when did you meet Henry? And she said, we were in Pittsburgh, and then that weekend we flew to Boston, and so we were doing stuff up in Boston. I said, what were you doing? And she wouldn't say. So I had to bring Henry in to sit with her, to encourage her to be cooperative and tell her that it doesn't matter what you say against Henry because he's cooperating. And she said, well, I don't know, we were up in Boston, we're all drunk, we're high. I said, what were you doing in Boston, Henry? Because he's sitting there with her, and he said, we were fixing basketball games. And I said, what school? And he said, BU, which of course is Boston University, not Boston College. And I said, that's interesting. And then I stopped, and I knew enough about basketball then to know that there wouldn't have been a line on the Boston University game. And I asked him where it was, and I tried to see if he was on campus at Boston College. Turned out he was in Boston Garden. And at that point, I sort of chuckled, and I said, all right, guys, that's a joke, I looked at the agents, and they looked at me, and they said, we're not joking. And then that's how we made the case. So I didn't really go. My first reaction was that it was a joke, and that Henry was just pulling my leg. The agents had put him up to this, and but I realized right away that it wasn't. But I guess I was a little angry, but I certainly didn't go over the table. I mean, Nick Pileggi said that in Wise Guy, and I think Henry said that, but I think that was just a little bit of an embellishment.
If my memory serves me correct, that you prosecuted the players, the basketball players who were involved?
One player, Rick Hune, was the basketball player who we prosecuted.
Rick Hune, so he was prosecuted by the feds, I guess,
right.
Obviously.
Yeah, it was a trial involving Rick Hune, Jimmy Burke, that was the major criminal prosecution in the federal system against him. He got a 10-year prison sentence for fixing Boston College games, and 3 people Henry knew from Pittsburgh. One was a small-time drug dealer, a guy by the name of Paul Mazzi. Another one was a part-time bookmaker by the name of Tony Perler, and Hune's friend, who was Perler's younger brother, who just should never have gotten mixed up in a stupid thing. We prosecuted him because we figured he would cooperate, and he didn't cooperate, and unfortunately he went to prison. Rocco Perla, his name was.
It's remarkable how 30 years later you still recall all the players and all the characters and all the dates. It's very commendable.
I guess forgiven my age, I guess I should be happy that I can still remember this stuff. But no, listen, these were exciting times. These were exciting cases.
Sure.
I mean, what I was saying before about having all these other cases, that didn't mean that the Lufthansa robbery case wasn't really exciting. It wasn't something that was really important to me. It was.
They were days of glory.
But yeah, it's my glory days. I can look back like the Bruce Springsteen song,
True.
and try to relive my golden days. But I like to think that I'm still doing some pretty interesting stuff now. So
I bet you are. Yeah. Well, we had a very, very, very fruitful conversation. I'm enlightened by what you've told me, and I really thank you very, very much